Last week at the Pro Rough Stock Battle in the Bayou 2, bareback rider Trey Taylor rolled to an 87-point ride on Champion Rodeo's Little Bay Annie. Bull rider John Young is still red hot after winning Council Bluffs last time. He leads the way with this 88.5-point trip on Penny & Sons Cowboy Up. And saddle bronc rider J.J. Elsher is still the one to beat. His 89-point ride on Klein Brothers Blackjack sits on top of the leaderboard as he goes for his third straight event championship. Can he do it? Find out next as the battle on the Bayou 2 continues with the Wrangler Final Four Showdown round. Hi everybody, I'm Justin McKee, and joining me is bareback riding world champion Kelly Timberman and Gordon McCoy. He's got a couple of IPRA saddle bronc riding world titles as well as what we're going to talk about your event, saddle bronc riding this time, because J.J. Elsher is doing something very similar to what we saw Justin McDaniel do, and that is put together a consecutive win streak of 3.
He's definitely on a roll. He could win his third straight title this week. And, looking at the ride last week, 89 points, gives him the advantage of the other riders. But the only bad thing is that puts him up against Justin Sockdancer, one of the most difficult horses in the pen. Kelly can tell you about that horse.
I don't even think Kelly wants to get on that horse when he was a bareback horse. No. That's saying something right there. Let's talk about the bareback riding, something unusual. There are 5 men instead of 4.
Yeah, when it comes to a tie in the Longo, when there's 5 guys, we'll bring all 5 of those guys back to the Final Four and give them a chance for that #1 spot in the showdown.
Let's talk about those guys in the bareback riding once you load the chutes.
The rank horse in this round, even ranker, even harder to ride than old R.D. Mercer, is Dollar Whiskey. This horse was raised by Chris Harris, a world champion bareback rider in his own right. Comes into today, matched up with Trey Taylor. For a little bitty horse, probably weighs 1,000 pounds. I have not seen an animal this hard to ride in a long time. It's going to be a really tough show for this kid today.
So we begin with Danny Webb. His first out was last week in Council Bluffs. Second time here on the PRS, a man who's had 3 hip surgeries. He is on Teaspoon from Stay Smith Pro Rodeo Company.
This is a little bitty horse. It's kind of fast. If you really use your legs and help the horse out, he's going to set up just like he just did. Danny's just got to be aggressive and keep charging the front end. As he come around, he kind of got lazy with that right leg, and it cost him in the long run of that ride.
Yeah, but I think we're going to see a lot of points right here, aren't we, Gordon?
Well, he makes a great ride there. I just watching that horse bob his head and him set him back there. As a judge, that's what you watch. He's beating him to the ground every time there. That end circle, though, I think is going to cost him a little bit.
Yeah, and the horse kind of quit kicking when he come around there, and sometimes that will affect the guy's ride because he's used to that motion of setting his feet back and being aggressive.
He liked it.
87. That was a good spur ride.
He'll total 168 as we go to Jack Kitoff. He is on that back-end black horse from Stay Smith Rodeo.
Oh, this is a fun horse. I've seen this horse go a lot, and personally, I'd love to get on this horse, and I know Jack was excited too. Good start, really coming up underneath his feet. He's a little bit tight with his upper body. You can see his feet are kind of taking it, and really no reason for that. If he'd have been aggressive and went at that horse, probably would have been a really big score, but it's going to reflect it.
You can see about the third jump, he kind of got setting up a little bit and got away from that rig. And how do you fix and get him gathered back up?
It's just like what you said in the bull ride. Sometimes you just got to let loose and go for it. The stiffer you get, the harder it is to ride. And he was stiff. I mean, you could see all the way from his head clear down to his toes. If he'd have loosened up and got aggressive and went for it, the score would have reflected it.
Well, he'll learn from it. He's just 19 years old, and when he watches that video, I bet it doesn't happen again. 76. As we go to Heath Ford, he is on R.D. Mercer. Don't you know that horse sometimes? I heard he looks back at the rider and goes, how big an old boy are you anyway?
This is a big, scary, gnarly horse. Really bucked right out of there. Come right down the fence, and when that horse turned out, about got a leg caught in the chute, but Heath was able to keep his foot above it and just made a really solid ride on a bad-to-ride horse.
You can tell it's not R.D.'s first rodeo. You see how he was already coming for the gate before it was completely open. Them horses even hear the latch hit.
Yeah, when that latch hits, that's when he looks back, and that's when he tells the rider, I'm going to open up a can of whoop. Oh, better stop right
we had a diversion. Here we go.
85 points for Heath Ford. Here's young Trey Taylor from Texas on that horse that is the rankest, Dollar Whiskey.
Like I said, this horse right here has surprised me. you know, really bucks fast.
Whoa!
Man!
Man, if you don't think those horses aren't putting out all their effort, that horse bucking so hard, when the rider came off, it wasn't enough weight to hold him down.
Good night. This horse is wilder than a Miley Cyrus music video.
Oh, that's a wrecking ball there.
You know, right there when Trey was coming off, that kind of knocked the horse off balance and helped the horse to fall there also.
Wow,
that was.
I'm telling you.
Who's
Thank
next?
God both of them are okay, though. Wow. That's extreme.
Wow.
That's extreme. 8 seconds of insanity in about a second and a half.
That's the tour we're on. As we go to Jared Keelan out of Kansas, he's on Smart Water from Stay Smith.
Now this horse has got a lot of moves. He's going to stay close to the ground. He's going to have to hustle, get a good start and hustle.
Well, that's what he does.
Right there. Look at this horse move all the way across. Still spurred over the neck, but didn't bobble upstairs. Made a really good ride on a really hard to track horse.
You know, it's funny, Kelly. Sometimes everybody's riding the same 8 seconds, but a horse like that is going to make 4 or 5 more jumps than the other horse did.
That's a good point.
And the difficulty in there is going to reflect in the score. That horse moving, he's kicking every other jump and moving away and ducking and diving and Jared just sat up there and just keep hustling, keep driving towards the front end. And that right there, that guy wants to win first.
All he needs is 83. He got an 88. Jared Keelan is going to win his first event. Take a look at the Wrangler Final Four Showdown round results, and congratulations to the Uniontown, Kansas Cowboy, Trey Taylor. We're glad you're still walking. Let's hear from Jared Keelan.
I was super excited to have her, and you always dream about drawing great horses, and the ranker they are, you know, the better cowboy it makes you feel like you are. I feel outstanding to come off of a 10-month injury, you know, just to come in and win. It just shoots your confidence level up. I've never been to one of these deals. I've been so excited all through the time that I've been hurt to come to one, and my buddies have been telling me about them and stuff and how good they are, and to come here and win it, I can't thank God enough for the people that put this deal on. It's been amazing.
Well, congratulations once again to Jared. And that injury, it wasn't just a little injury. It was very serious, wasn't it, Kelly?
He's out for 10 months, almost ripped his foot all the way off. He's had 3 plates in it, and he's had to redo all the tendon damage that he had done, the nerve damage. He literally had to learn how to walk on that foot again, let alone ride a bareback horse. You talk about try and faith in the Lord to come back strong and compete to that level. God bless him and good job.
Yeah, that's a guy that a lot of people are going to start cheering for, no doubt about it. Well, coming up, bull riding, and with John Jacobs and McKenna Wimberly out of the Final Four this week, the door is wide open for Super Dave Samsel and John Young to close in on the leaders. Welcome back to the Lamar Dixon Expo Center here in Gonzales, Louisiana. It's time for our Wrangler Final Four Showdown round in bull riding. Here are the matchups, Cord.
Well, you got John Young, and he is the young gun and the hot gun going right now, coming off a big win in Council Bluffs. You got Willis Trosclair, and I know it's the toughest to beat somebody in hometown. Willis won this event last year, but you've got Dave Samsel. He's looking at the number 3 man in the world and have an opportunity to move to number 1 this week. So I definitely keep my eyes on Super Dave. Lots
of things to look for here as we go now to Jacob O'Mara, the first gunner in the Final Four round. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on hijack from F&F Bucking Bulls.
Jacob, he's a veteran too, and man, made a great ride in the long round. Was dressing the bull up, to show the judges he had a lot of control. Doing the same thing this week, but going the other way, and I'd love to see the guy's versatility. When you take a guy's career, especially a year, you're going to get on all different kinds of bulls. And I think that champion at the end of the year is who makes more of those bulls that don't fit him is who's going to win.
That's a good point. Well, he's spurring away from his hand. Talk about how more difficult that is versus into your hand.
It is. I think away from your hand is more balanced. You see him working his hand the whole time. When they're going into your hand, they're kind of pulling you along with them. So, it's something you can let them go and follow them around.
Wow, big 85. Again, the judges loving Jacob O'Mara. Here's Super Dave, the number 3 rider in the world, trying to move on up with Wimberly out and John Jacobs out. On Caleb's pet, hop, skip, and coming around the left, and Super Dave is riding like a superhero. Here he comes to save the day. He's waving and talking to everybody on the back of the chute.
That's the cool thing about bull riding. When you get the sweet spot, no matter how hard that bull's bucking, it just feels like they're just moving underneath you. And you can tell when it got to about 7 seconds, he got the sweet spot and was riding him every step.
working it out. That is how you ride a bull away from your hand, and that's how you wave to your buddies on the back of the shoes. Oh, he had somebody with a camera back there. They're filming that for family.
You got to tell him PRS has got a camera out here, too.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. 92 points. Are you kidding me? Hey, judges are cutting loose with some numbers here. That's the highest score in PRS history. He's like, no big deal. That's just what I do. Now, to Willis Trosclair, guys, this is quite a story right here.
Well, you talk about injuries. Willis actually suffered a shot injury.
Gunshot.
Yeah, gunshot. Yeah, so
Blank range.
he's been through some scary stuff. So bull riding isn't the scary thing for him.
Yeah, he was actually carjacked. A guy stuck a gun right in his gut. He grabbed the gun, tried to get it away from him. It went off, and he drove himself to the hospital. This guy's tough. Oh, my. Boy, I mean, Bull took a slice. Bullfighters do a great job.
Those two bullfighters right there do such a good job working together. And the best part about them, to be honest, when they're doing their job right, you don't even notice them. You don't even see them there, But he comes in right here. Watch this. Tori and Jason. Jason jumps right on that bull's head and saves Willis a good hooking right there.
He had just a foot to get in there, and he did suffer his own body in there. You can see he steps in there. If that bull would have taken one swipe at Willis, he would have taken the shot first.
Well, it's good to see this guy back in the arena, making it to the Wrangler Final Four Showdown round, and even though we had a buck off today. Let's go to the number 4 rider. Out of Iowa, the man who won in Council Bluffs. This is John Young. He won Pro Rodeo's National Circuit Championship in Oklahoma City last year, and he's on War Bones from Klein Brothers. Back to the right after starting to the left, and John Young continues to ride Bull. Ooh, boy. Yeah, Bull, he definitely got a piece of the action right there.
Well, he's not going to get a high score, just like we talked earlier about riding all the bulls. This bull is not the bull to win first on. He's doing everything, getting out, switching directions, dragging, moving forward, and he survived him. And if he's going to win a world title in the PRS, you got to ride bulls like that.
He did a great job keeping that free hand up and not slapping the bull with a free hand. John Young continues to do things right. 2 weekends in a row. He's going to finish in the top 2 here. He needs an 89 to win. He's not going to get it. He's going to get that 83. But it's all about Super Dave Samsel. I'm telling you, he has got to have a Superman t-shirt underneath that red shirt. There's no doubt about it. Let's hear from the old guy.
Hey, what a great bull. You know what, after my stomping I took at Rapid City, wasn't too sure if that wasn't it, but looks like I came back and still remember how to do it.
When we come back, the Final Four Saddle Bronc competition from here in Gonzales, where J.J. Elsher is going for his 3rd straight Saddle Bronc title. But Louisiana cowboy Cody Hot Sauce DeMoss may have something to say about it. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 2014 Battle in the Bayou 2 in Gonzales, Louisiana. Hey, before we get to the Saddle Bronc riding, I'd like to say a great big thank you to some wonderful hosts at the Clarion Inn and Conference Center. Their hospitality has been absolutely amazing, and that is where the Cowboys stay in Gonzales, Louisiana, the Clarion Inn and Conference Center. Well, it's time for our Wrangler Final Four Showdown round in Saddle Bronc riding, and Kelly, let's look at the matchups.
I remember back when the legendary horses like Sip and Velvet were in there, almost unrideable. Well, we have some of those horses today in the Bronc ride. We've got Pretty Boy that has been unridden in the PRS, matched up with Cody Hot Sauce DeMoss. That's a great matchup. But the horse that I've been so excited to see is Justin Sock Dancer. This horse, I don't know if he's been rode in the last 10 trips. JJ's matched up with him. He's going to have to go for the gusto, lift on that rein, and charge for that number 1 spot.
All right, we're going to start things off with Ty Kirkland. The Lufkin, Texas cowboy has drawn Famous Dave's from Stay Smith Pro Rodeo.
Going to have some moves, going to be a little bit strong, but bails in there and really bucks. Kind of turned back right there. That's unnormal for the horse. Sometimes a horse has his normal trip, and sometimes he doesn't.
7.8. Cord, what do you think? What do you think a horse is thinking when he gets into a spin when that's not his typical?
Well, I don't know. The horse is definitely just wants to get him on the ground, and I think that he just got loosened up. It's a little bit like bull riding in a sense. I think you just keep going there, and that's the toughest second to ride is from 7 to 8.
7.8. He comes up short after an 82.5 in the long round, packing that shoulder out. Is Ty Kirkland. Let's go to the number 9 rider so far this season. It's Ray Tom Myers out of Mills, Wyoming, on Midnight Cowboy from Stay Smith.
I want to see Ray Tom get up above the point of that shoulders. If he does, it's going to make this horse a lot easier to ride. Good start, great mark out. Horse is kind of flat kicking. He's got to be aggressive and start charging. He's kind of behind. Man, he needs to go, Ray Tom.
Just need to let go of that saddle more, doesn't he, Gordon?
It does. You know, I tell you what, the set of horses that we've seen so far, them swells are moving. It's challenging the guys. It's not riding one horse the same jump over and over. This horse does something different every time. He's flat, he fades, he moves, he ducks. There's no consistency. You got to change your pattern every jump.
It almost looked like he's about to lose that stirrup on the far side. I bet it was on his toe, and that's probably why he just bared down and made that 8-second ride.
He gets an 80. He'll total 164 as we go to Hot Sauce DeMoss. Cody DeMoss on Pretty Boy. He needs a 79.5 to take the lead. Here's the guy that not only has won at Cheyenne, won at Ellensburg. He's got arena records there. He's won at Reno and the National Finals Rodeo.
Good start on this big old paint horse. He's going to circle around to the right here, and this is where about right here is where he gets most of his guys. Man, he made it.
You said circles right. He went left.
That was a little bitty circle. He faked right, went left.
I think he might have been looking right, but I really think he went left.
You know, those pickup men helped that horse stay pretty honest all the way across there. Look at how that horse is moving back and forth, and right here, he gives him a bit of a sucker punch, hits him right between the right ear, and tries to buck him off.
Wow, he gets there. 82 points for Cody DeMoss. He takes the lead with a 166.5 with one more guy to sweat. And this is maybe the matchup of the year as we go to J.J. Elsher. Justin Sock Dancer from Stay Smith Rodeo. Nobody rides this horse.
Big move, really kicking over his head just like we talked about. And here JJ's tapped off and using him up. Woo! Go on, JJ, go on.
Now wait a minute. He makes the ride. We don't see that. Did the horse have an off day, or is JJ just that good?
JJ is just that good. Look at that start. Got through that big swoop, wanted to rip him over that left shoulder, and he just grit his teeth, lifted on that rein, and just charged. That's what it takes to ride a rank horse. You got to be just a little bit tougher than the rest.
Well, if you see how far that saddle's moving up and down, and kind of like bull riding, you can't grab a hold. You got to let go, and he gets paid for it.
He gassed it to an 89 score, 178. He wins his third event in a row, fourth for the season. J.J. Elsher is hotter than a burning stump.
Yeah, right out of there. I mean, he leaves the chute hard, and he hits, and he's going right, and he's just full of power. And then he's about moving away, too, and that's just ripping on your swells. And you got to hustle, but I decided to go the other way for a little bit and hold on for a second or two. That's the fourth time I've ever been on him, and I'm 50-50 now, so I was just tickled to get to the buzzer today. So
congratulations to JJ. He wins the battle in the saddle so far this year. That's the big one. More to come from here in Louisiana. We'll update our season leaders and find out the secret to the world's best jambalaya. Back now in Gonzales, our good friend Phil Savoy rolled out the red carpet for our riders and crew. Once again, he hosted the PRS family at his ranch for a crawfish boil with all the fixings and great music to boot.
It was calling all the contractors, calling all the TV crew, everybody, and inviting them over for a barbecue. I'm from Wyoming. We cook beef. I didn't know what it was about. And old Phil and Scott, they teased me for 2 or 3 days straight. So you guys, Phil and Scott, that was the best darn barbecue I think I ever been to.
And during our pre-show event here at the arena tonight, we were honored to have world champion jambalaya chef Scott Duplanchane. He served up his 2013 winning recipe to the fans here in Gonzales. He also took a minute to tell his secret to making world-class jambalaya.
But the real key, and any real cook knows, the real key to winning a world title here in Gonzales is cooking good rice. The rice has to be really swollen, has to pop open, and be really big, and it's got to be really fluid. So rice texture is really critical here to win this.
Oh man, if you like jambalaya, Gonzales is the place. It is the capital of the world for jambalaya, and they also host the National Finals Cook-Off right here every year. Where else? Jambalaya Park in downtown Gonzales. Pretty cool stuff here, pretty hot and spicy. I did not know it was all about the rice. Let's check out our updated season standings after our event here in Gonzales and bareback riding. Justin McDaniel not here. He has a powerful lead still. And Eric Wolford, number 2. Not a lot of big changes there. In the bull riding, John Jacobs is also out, but he also stays number 1.
Well, it doesn't look like the numbers changed that much, but there's a gap between John Young and Dave Samsel, and number 1 and number 2 has closed in this week, so it is going to be a battle for the championship.
Yeah, it is getting really tight among those top 4 riders. And in saddle bronc riding, J.J. Elsher is creating a little more room between he and the rest of the guys.
Model of consistency. I love to watch JJ. It seems like the tougher the horses are, the tougher he is, you know, and he's secured a spot up there right now. But right behind him is Cole Elsher, one of the most dynamic young men coming up, and then Rusty Wright right below him. I mean, 2 young guys that are dang sure going to make you ride top level. And then Jesse Williams. What more can you say about that athlete?
Our Kershaw Cutting Edge Performance highlight of the night goes to...
Well, you got to look at the veteran. Dave Samsel comes in there, 92 points, you know, right when he needed it. I tell you what, that guy, he's impressive. He definitely gets my Cutting Edge Performance.
There's nothing like the best ride, and there's nothing like a Kershaw. And our John Deere Big Buck of the night, which goes to the top performing animal, is...
All the way. Justin Sock Dancer in the bronc ride matched up with J.J. Elsher. That horse is one of the rankest animals ever walk on 4 legs.
That's big time. Our Big Buck of the night is sponsored by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. Next week, we return to the Great Lakes region, Toledo, Ohio, on the banks of Lake Erie for the 2014 Toledo Open. For Cord McCoy and Kelly Timberman, I'm Justin McKee. See you next week in Ohio.